Stuart, that was absolutely fantastic. And there's so many questions I want to ask you, like I asked so many other guitar players, and things that we can share. Let's talk about nails, nail care, because that's so important. It's our sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, are you blessed with good nails? Mine are rubbish.
I'm not too bad. I've got a really strong thumbnail. I don't have to do a thing to the thumbnail. I don't know why that's stronger, but thumbnail's really strong. Maybe all the calcium gets channeled down my arm at the end into my thumb. What I do, my normal nails don't break, but they wear down very quickly. So I do something which I think is very similar to you. I get a nail powder and nail glue, and I'll put a few drops of nail glue on here first.
And just coat the tips.
And just coat, so just a bit of nail powder. And then a bit more glue, and then you build it up and then file it down.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you find that having a strong thumbnail is great for your harping? Maybe you can show us a quick bit of harping.
Oh yeah, sure. Actually,
that needs to be strong.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean the harping technique. The thumbnail is great for that. It really means I can draw out the low notes.
That sounds fairly strong actually. I usually find that with harping, the harping technique, by the way, viewers, is mainly an open string and harmonic, not necessarily in the open position but the fretted position, and you've heard what Stuart can do. You can see that lovely harp-like sound, that's why it's called harping. But I usually find that when it gets to the treble strings, with the way I play, it can be a little bit thin, so I have to sort of thicken the nail up. But I remember, I think it was Julian Bream said that the essence of great guitar playing, or getting a great sound, is being blessed with good nails. If you're born with good nails, you're kind of halfway there, because that's your sound.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, particularly on acoustic guitar, it's the tone thing. The stronger the nail, the more present and clear the tone will be. I mean the other thing for me is psychologically, I don't break nails when I play. Well sometimes I do, and the worst scenario is if you're on a gig. I mean I remember doing a gig years ago, and I went to play a note on string 1 and sliced the third fingernail off right down to the quick. And that was on pretty much the first song. So, psychologically, if I'm playing out live, I want them reinforced as much as possible, because I don't even want that to be a consideration.
Well, that memory, that's like the guitarist's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
I was chatting with John Etheridge, he says name dropping. John is currently working with John Williams. We talked about nails. I said, isn't it incredible, John, that our livelihood depends on these lumps of flesh, hardened flesh at the end of our fingers?
Yeah.
And he said, if John Williams breaks a nail, he has to cancel a tour.
Oh, gosh.
He has to cancel a tour.
It's totally true.
Hasn't he heard of super glue and ping pong balls? John, watch this. We'll put you right.
It's incredible though, isn't it?
Yeah. We stand or fall on our nails. And with, the nail goes, you can't play. You just get this dead sound. It's quite scary, and we try not to think too much about that because it's such a very fine line. So we talked about the nails and string gauges. You use, I believe, 12 to 52.
12-52 elixirs, yeah. Sometimes Didarios, but generally elixirs. So you can meld up well with this guitar. Nice bright sound. They last for ages.
It is interesting with guitars. You have to find. I don't know whether you viewers are the same, but you have to find the right string to match the guitar. Sometimes one set of strings which you think would sound fine on one guitar, put it onto another one and it sounds not right. And it's an interesting thing. It's a problem, because then you've got to keep going out buying different sets of strings. I think we all, I know these days I have to stick with one gauge of string to do everything on. I mean, if you're using open tunings, when you slack down, they can be slacking off the string, they can sound a bit loose. But I think certainly that gauge of string will cover most open tunings.
It's true. I mean, I've got things like strings and picks. We get to a point as guitar players where we view those as the incidentals. We forget about them. We start thinking about pedals and amps and wood types. But there's a lot to be said for matching up a string brand to a guitar. I mean, the other strings I like are Didario EXP coated, which is a much darker sounding string than an elixir. So sometimes I'll be playing this guitar, sometimes in different seasons, and I'll think, well, this actually sounds a little bit bright at the moment, so I'm going to darken the tone down with a set of EXPs. Whereas, in summer, maybe I'll put a set of elixirs on. I mean, the other thing is plectrums. I use a plectrum a lot.
Oh yeah, tell me about your plectrum technique.
Yeah, I mean,
which pick do you use? It's very Anarakish, but it's so
this is going to go really Anarakish. Now, I mean, I use picks made by a couple of guys in the States called Red Bear, which are made by hand. And they're made to emulate tortoiseshell.
Are these the expensive ones?
They are expensive.
Are they 35 quid a pick or something?
They work about 20, yeah. I mean, I have this thing.
You're not going to give those away at the end of the gig. Hey, it's like my plectrum.
I have this one surgically implanted in my chest. So I'll never lose it. But I mean, I can use this for about 2 or 3 years. So, it works out. But I think as guitar players and picks, for me it's like a violin and a bow. A violin player won't use any old bow. I think guitar players, I'm forever being asked about plectrum gauges and brands and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes the shape and the weight of a pick can make such a huge difference to your playing. It can be the one thing as a pick player.
Close up on a pick?
Which suddenly makes... But, it can be that sudden eureka moment, because all of a sudden something you've been trying to play with a pick but find it difficult. Change brand, change size, change thickness, and it just fits. And I think we need to explore this.
Ironically, Stu, as you know, I am a plectrum
You're a
guitar.
pick player.
I am a pick player, but it's pick. I use the pick almost like as a thumb pick, but my plectrum technique really, compared with what you guys do, is not really that hot. But Clive says, so you should get one of these. He said, all will be revealed. I can't believe that.
I mean, this pick I'm using here is actually hand beveled. It's like a worn down plectrum.
Really?
It's crazy. But I mean, the thing is, I'm in Dadgad. I'm not a great picker in Dadgad, but it's got that sound straight away, and it just bounces off the strings. If you gave me a different brand pick, a small plastic pick, I'd find it a lot harder to execute all these things I'm trying to execute with a pick. So, I'm a real exponent of good pick practice.
Stu, it's been great to have you here at GPP today. Can you indulge me in something here? Now, this is a prime example of a great player making any instrument sound good. It's not the guitar, it's the player. We all are searching for that great guitar, and it probably doesn't really exist. I think the guitar we've always been searching for, we probably own, but in our minds we're looking for that sound. This is a wonderful American guitar, high end, well, $3,000 or whatever you'd have to pay for that. And in the corner is my Gordon Giltrap signature guitar, and I guarantee that Stuart will make this sound as equally as beautiful as his Collins, because in the hands of the player you can make the guitar sound good, providing it's set up reasonably. Now, I've got this set up fairly low because you'll probably make this buzz all over the place because I've got very namby-pamby fingers. But give us a little blast or something, see what you think. Says it all. Different sound though, different sounding guitar, but equally as pleasant and as sonorous. Is that the right word?
Lovely guitar. Guitar.
And it's just really down to the player. I think most of us, once you've been playing for a few years, it's not a show-offy thing, but you can, within reason, make any instrument sound pretty okay, providing it's set up okay and you've got a decent set of strings.
And the right plectrum.
And the right plectrum. Grab the right plectrum. Listen to this man. This man knows. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it again for Mr. Stuart Ryan.
Thank you.